A pro-Palestinian encampment at McGill University is facing increasing pressure to dismantle, but the protesters say they're not going anywhere until their demands are met. The protesters set up an encampment at the university 4 days ago, and they're demanding the university divest from companies with business interests in Israel. McGill has asked police to intervene, but so far officers have not been deployed. 2 students have also filed for an injunction asking a judge to declare it a restricted area. Today, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau raised his own concerns with the encampment.
Universities are places of learning. They're places for freedom of expression, freedom of thought, freedom of ideas. But that only works if people feel safe on campus. Right now, right across the country, Jewish students do not feel safe. That's not right.
Fabrice Labeau is McGill University's Deputy Provost of Student Life and Learning. Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I wonder if you could comment on what the Prime Minister said there. Do Jewish students at McGill not feel safe because of this encampment?
Well, I think from our perspective, we're looking at this encampment here, and we said early on before it came in that these kinds of encampments are contrary to the law and contrary to our university policies. So since the very beginning of this encampment, we've been in discussion with the police, making sure that we network from the get-go, and we've gone through our own processes to try and de-escalate the situation. Using our protocol and our operating procedures to do that. So we've gone through all our steps, and unfortunately what has happened over the last day or so shows us that our steps have been exhausted, and that's why we've asked for police interventions, because we've seen an increase in the number of tents, we've seen the arrival of a large number of people from outside the McGill community, but also we've seen a refusal from the McGill participants in the encampment through the legal counsel that they have appointment to discuss with us the terms in terms of a timeline for leaving the encampment. So we're really looking at this as the next step for us to involve the police.
Okay, they're refusing to leave or give you a timeline because their demands are there's about $20 million of investments that McGill has, I guess, through various endowments that go to the Royal Bank of Canada, Coca-Cola, Lockheed Martin, an array of companies that they want you to divest from. Is that something the university would consider under any circumstances, or is that simply a non-starter for McGill?
Well, when we're talking about the investments of the university, of course, there's a diversity of companies that we indirectly invest in, because we don't invest directly in individual stocks or companies. We typically hire external fund managers to do that, but we do have a process in the university. So we have a committee of the board of the directors. It's called the Committee on Sustainability and Social Responsibility, and they have a process through which members of the community can actually express concerns about the university's investment. So we've clearly communicated this process to all of the McGill students who called us to divest, but they have not used this process to express their concerns until now.
Okay, so they're there and saying they're not going to leave. We have the Prime Minister and Jewish groups and Jewish students saying they don't feel safe, not just because of this encampment, but because of the general state of things in the last couple of months. I've seen reports, sir, that McGill has video evidence of anti-Semitic chants and anti-Semitic actions in and around this camp. I've not seen it myself. Is this something you have? Is this something you have turned over to police?
So there's a video we have looked at from social media that was very, very concerning. We are investigating the incident, including trying to find out whether we can identify individuals in that video, but also consulting the legal counsel to see if what was said in that video falls under a protected speech in Canada.
And I know you probably don't want to repeat it word for word, and I'm not asking you to do that, but can you broadly give us a sense of what it is that it concerns? Is it a glorification of October 7th, as some people have suggested? What exactly, or is it advocating genocide potentially? What broadly is it about the language that concerns you, sir?
Well, as you say, I definitely don't want to repeat the words that were uttered in this video. We're continuing to look at it. The concerns that were raised at the time were really anti-Semitic language and intimidating behavior.
So have you turned this over to authorities, or are you just investigating that internally? Because the police have said, as I understand it, that they've seen no reason yet for police involvement. But if this is as concerning as some people are suggesting, it feels like something that perhaps the police should be involved in. So where does it stand in terms of giving that to police officers?
So we've basically asked for the police to help us in dismantling this encampment for the reason I mentioned earlier. I mean, we're looking at an encampment that is in the wrong location, and it has the wrong kind of duration. So where they are is not a place where you can actually camp. They're on lower field on our campus. There's no sanitation. There's no safety. Yesterday, the Montreal Fire Department tried to get in the camp to figure out whether there were any dangers. They were not allowed in. So this is really not a place where this kind of activity should happen. And given the duration of what the encampers are proposing, which is indefinite duration, the duration and the location simply don't work on our campus. So that's the main reasons why we've asked the police to intervene after we've tried ourselves through our own protocols. And we know that the police have the expertise in resolving such situations. They've started their own process. We continue to work with them to resolve the matter. Of course, our priority continues to be the safety and the well-being of all the community members. But at the same time, we also know that the police will also try to find a peaceful resolution.
So the police, though, if at this point they say they see no need for police, operations here, which is certainly the line that I read earlier today. I know a couple of students have gone to court to seek an injunction. Would the university consider going to court to seek an injunction? And presumably the police would have to enforce an injunction should it be ordered by the court. I mean, where does this leave you in terms of your next step on this?
Well, so as I mentioned, our next step is really that collaboration with the police, who are following their own protocols and our own processes to help us remove and dismantle the encampments. McGill did not file an injunction. From our perspective, what we do is attempt to engage in dialogue with the students. That failed. We haven't been able to de-escalate, and that's why we requested the police's assistance.
Right. So just as a final point, I mean, does this end without the police? Because it seems like the protesters are dug in, as we've seen in the United States, which is what this is modeled on. I mean, they've escalated at Columbia, where they occupied a building. I'm not suggesting that's going to happen at McGill, but certainly an indeterminate duration with a set of demands you're not prepared to meet. I mean, does this end with anything short of police action? Because it doesn't seem like either party to this is going to capitulate on demands.
So again, we've tried our de-escalation steps, and I think that's always the way we're looking at this thing, thinking about the continued safety and well-being of all our community members. Now that the police is going to be involved, as I said, they will follow their own process, which I cannot talk to, of course. Hopefully, as I said, with a peaceful resolution.
Fabrice Labeau, McGill University's Deputy Provost of Student Life and Learning. I want to thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you very much.